I think. And that way we can, we'll get peasants in the background. If it works out pretty damn well, then maybe we'll full screen it.
We'll see how it goes. Ooh, I like the snowfall.
What did I... Oh. Why is it letting me resize the image without maintaining...
I don't know, I'm off the clock.
Alright, first of all, let's actually turn the thing on.
That would help.
There we go. And if you're going to sit right there, I'm going to kill the mic, because otherwise everybody's getting echo. I thought she was like going to bring this stuff down. I didn't know what was involved or how much it was, and I thought she was going to sit somewhere else, and that's why we're getting the helmet cam, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? So yeah, you can see, hello helmet cam down there, be talking from the angle. Yeah, arts and crafts cam.
Alright, so I don't actually... Oh, okay, that's... Oh, my needle! Hold on. I don't know where my hand is. Is it up? Okay, I don't know. I'm going to...
She can't see a real-time feed. She's probably seeing it with like a 6-second delay. I gotta go turn Manny's onto a low-latency feed so she can get one a little better.
Could you hold this while I grab the needle? Because it dropped.
Here, I don't think Manny knows about low latency. Oh, yep. Oh, it is low latency. Huh?
Alright. Hello everyone, I'm going to show you how to splice some yarn. So, you have 2 pieces of yarn that I think you can see. Can you see it? Okay.
It's weird that it lets me stretch the image.
This is really fascinating. I feel like I need to minimize out of everything in the,
You could also just turn off the monitor. Well, but then why? The whole point was so you could see what you were actually streaming. That's why it was there.
Aren't you smart? Aren't you clever? You're very clever. Anyway,
you could also just focus on what you were talking about, and then it's fine.
True. All right, so I'm going to teach you how to splice yarn. This is alpaca yarn. It is a bulky baby alpaca 2-ply. It's 2-ply because if you look very closely at this yarn, if you start to try to unravel it, you'll see 2 very distinct threads, basically. Where if you split it in half, it's a little hard to see right now, but there are basically 2 primary threads. That is a 2-ply yarn. It's a very bulky yarn, which means that it has a yeah, it's bulky. Compared to something like a single-ply yarn, as I grab it from my Plensic experiment box, which is also a 2-ply but is much thinner in comparison to this. So this is one of the big things that gets kind of tossed around in the fiber arts community is terminology around how big or how hefty a strand of yarn is. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually taking the ends of the fiber and getting them to be a little bit less together because what I have to do is I actually have to splice these 2 together. And so what you basically do is you grab them apart, you moosh them together a little bit so that they look kind of like they're about to form a little bit of a twisting union. And you start that, and it's a little bit gross. It's called a spit splice because you can use moisture. You can literally spit in your hand if you want, but I find that if you just go ahead and apply friction and heat just on its own, it'll be sufficient to splice it together into a single piece of yarn. So, that's the big difference between null binding and an art like crochet or knitting. Knitting and crochet go off of a single skein. There is no splicing inherently involved unless you need to use multiple skeins of yarn. Null binding, you're basically working with lengths of yarn. So what I'm working on right now is a pair of basically baby booties for my in-laws' newborn. And the way that null binding works is
Hold on a second, just a second, Harker. I'm going to switch over because you're not talking to the microphone, so I'm going to make it so you can't not talk into the microphone by kicking on the helmet cam.
Okay.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. So the premise of null binding is, for those of you who are already into fiber arts, especially knitting and crochet, when you decide that you want to go back on a piece, you pull on what we call the working yarn, and that would undo it. However, in null binding, which is basically a series of very, very loose knots, pulling on the working yarn actually tightens the piece, if you see right here. So, if I actually want to undo something, I would have to pull all of this yarn that I'm working with out of this hole. It is actually a lot easier to just cut this and cut it off and redo what I'm doing. But the nice thing is that null binding is very forgiving. As I take my
null
needle.
binding was knitting with bones. That was how it was explained to me.
Kind
I don't
of
think she
is.
mentioned bones at all through all of this, but that's actually a bone.
So the needle that I'm working with right now is an elk cannon bone. It is certainly much thicker than the vast majority of needles that you'll encounter. It's also a lot more blunt, which is good for this because what I'm basically doing is going through and making very, very loose knots over and over again as I make sure that I'm not picking up extra stitches. For the vast majority of fiber arts nowadays, if you pull on the working yarn, it will unravel. With null binding, you are actually tightening it, which is kind of reassuring, right? If you stick it in your pocket and you go somewhere, it's not going to unravel on you. But it's also a little anxiety-inducing because you can't very easily undo what you've done. And that's why actually in period, so for instance, a huge anachronism nowadays is null-bound hats. I've made a number of null-bound hats, but they're not at all period because there was really no reason to make a null-bound hat in period. Null binding was for pieces that would see a lot of wear and tear. You got null-bound mittens, null-bound socks, because they would stand up. If I were to take a pair of scissors to this right now and cut this entirely open, just take my scissors and make a cut right here, it would not unravel.
Oh, so it's ye olde ripstop.
Kind of. It would not necessarily just unravel apart. It would be easier to patch. All of these very high wear and tear, especially the socks and the mittens, they were very common null-bound items in period because they needed that durability to be able to stand up. And they were found in Viking graves. They were found actually in Egypt, in Peru, in the mountains. But very rarely, there were only a couple instances of null-bound hats, and they're mostly in the Tamarin Basin. And people are still trying to figure out why they were done that way, and no one can quite figure out why. But the main premise of null binding is you have your stick, your needle, it has a hole in it, and you've got your thread, and you are picking up a certain number of stitches and basically creating a very, very loose knot with them. And over and over and over and over again, doing this same repetitive motion. Now, some people like to pack their needle with a lot of thread. Some people kind of reach a middle ground. Some people do very little thread. I try not to pack it too much because depending on the fiber, it'll actually start felting the fiber as you're making the piece. But I do try to at least make sure that I have a fair bit to work with so that I don't have to be constantly doing joins over and over and over again. The big thing about null binding is that you are working off of lengths of yarn instead of off of the skein. With knitting and crochet, you're working off of the skein, and then you're also working off of a tool that is a very specific gauge that makes it very easy to follow a pattern. With a specific gauge needle, do this particular stitch 10 times, and then do this other stitch another 10 times, and then do another stitch another 10 times. Very easy to follow. As you can see with null binding, I'm actually using my thumb here That is my gauge between that and the size of my needle and the size of the yarn that I'm using. Patterning and null binding is much more difficult compared to knitting or crochet. That was part of the reason why it was ultimately abandoned. It wasn't easy to kind of convey, this is how I make this particular kind of piece. Because there was no consistency, there was no guarantee that what you did would end up the exact same as what someone else did. But the trade-off there is that the durability was significantly lessened. So, take your pick. And that's my thread talk for the time being.
I like how you started out with like crocheting and this type of fabric and that stuff like that. And it's just like, is she ever going to mention that she's literally knitting with animal bones? Because that's kind of, I guess that's the difference between, art, creativity, and marketing. Where do we start this out with? How do you get dude
I actually have
bros
not
to
been
start
looking
crocheting?
at chat at all because I'm looking at my my hands.
Dude,
Okay.
I am taking plant matter and creating something using bones. Bro, that's fucking metal. I'm all about that. What are we doing? It's
all
called
right.
crocheting. Wait, what?
All right, to be perfectly clear, the fiber that I'm working with right now is actually alpaca, which is an animal fiber.
Hold on.
But-
Arkansas brings up a good question. Check chat.
Who? I'm sorry, I literally did not hear you.
That's why I said check chat.
There's a
It's
lot of chat
literally,
that's
I can
happened.
see it on your screen. It's the second to last one.
Null binding. Okay, NAL, like the Scandinavian word for nail, null binding, NAL, and then B like binding, BINDING. That is how I was taught to spell it. NAL.
So null
yeah.
binding. Null.
Null binding. NAL.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's nail. NALE?
Just NAL.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it have a special
NAL or
character over the
NALE.
A?
There's a fair amount of
true.
variation, but what I was taught was NAL. Yeah.
I thought it was NULL from the way she was talking about it, like null pointer. My background's in computer science, so I'm like, oh, null binding isn't. So when you were talking, like when I said black hole adhesion, it sounded like you were slapping like stapling a black hole to something, binding the null, the single point, the singularity. Null binding is when you have like humans under contract for a task. You've bound them to a soul.
So nail binding is actually the literal translation of it, is you are binding thread together using a nail. Yeah.
We can do this. Nope, that's the wrong button. Alt? Nope. Can I pull for the sides only? So I'm trying to remember is it shift? Oh, does it not do that on this one? No, that's bull. I don't believe that. I know I can crop with a hotkey in OBS, but it's been a while since I've done it. I thought
Okay.
it might just be this camera source. So I haven't tried to do it with the helm cam before. Looks like I know I can do it with mine. Why I'm editing mine at the moment. Shift. Yeah, I thought it was control too. Now I've tried alt, shift, control. Now I'm like, is it a combination?
Okay. And I'm approaching one of my stitch markers here. Yeah, I've got one more. Okay.
String, copy, transform. There is a crop thing. I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's control, shift, alt. Nope.
Right, and I'm a purist. I use stitch markers because my mathematical brain will not let me. Otherwise, I will literally compulsively count every single stitch I do, which is a little counterproductive.
Kettle, I thought so too. That's why I'm like, why isn't it working on literally any of mine? I'm like, is there something wrong with my setup here? Google.
To the Google. There we go. Okay.
You can crop any source by holding Alt while in the edit scene mode. What is Alt? What is Alt? I knew it was just one of them. What the fuck? Oh, I guess that is not the way I was expecting that to work. It's stretching it. What in the fuck? Hey, Drunk Bonsai, welcome. About to complete my first level 3 burgers plot. Congratulations.
I was about to say, this has devolved into nerdy stream against Fox as
we've
well.
Opted into what I was trying to do. Maybe it's Alt or Control Alt to do it because it was no. That just stretches it that way. Alt Shift. Why is it doing it now? Now, but it wasn't before. I guess I need to zoom it down. This is what you're seeing over to the side is arts and crafts. Period. Authentic, according to Harper. Period. Authentic. Arts and crafts. Null binding. Nail binding. Null binding.
There are a lot of pronunciations. I say null binding. Some people say nail binding.
What? That just stretches it out. What the fuck? See, Control's just resizing it.
My lovely join undid, so I have to redo it now. This is a risk. I'm still not very good at yarn joins, unfortunately. I'm a little salty about it.
No, I didn't even think about how much is it. No, the helmet cam isn't picking me up very much. Though you might hear a slight echo on me, depending on how much the helmet cam is picking me up. So I'll just switch to ASMR Fox voice.
Ooh. So sexy. It's like those trees, those poles.
Those poles? What?
I was thinking about Taskmaster New Zealand.
Can use this technique to make little yarn-based hats for the gerbils. I think the yarn's a little too big, isn't it?
I totally could, yeah. They would be very, very tiny, but I could absolutely make gerbil hats. So one of the key things about felting yarn is you need heat, you need friction, and you need moisture. And especially with untreated fibers. So if you see the word superwash, you cannot felt it. But if it is otherwise untreated, you should be able to felt it just fine. And that is a huge indicator for me. I always, if I encounter, so for instance, I was at a local festival today, and I encountered someone who raises Angora goats, and I was asking her, what kind of treatment do you send your fiber through? And she said, basically nothing. We wash it, we card it, and then we spin it. And I was like, perfect. That means that it'll felt, right? And she said yes. And I was like, perfect. That means that I can very easily use it to make the pieces that I'm interested in and to join different lengths together so that I can make my various null binding pieces. However, in period, we do also have examples of people using cotton yarn. We have examples of linen. And I need to get better at joining. My goodness, I'm not very good at this. It's very unfortunate. I would otherwise be unstoppable, but here I am, immortal.
I don't know that that would work, Kettle.
If what would work out.
There's the dual conversation between threads, gerbils eating the thread, turning it into bedding, and voice acting ASMR. And I think I briefly mentioned trying to decide what exactly mommy ASMR is. Yeah.
Okay, no. No. I'm not doing that, sorry.
No.
I do that for my developers every day. Fuck off.
I believe offered.
No.
I was like, I'm not even sure what that is.
No need. No,
Harper would do the singing. It's on a community church. We still don't have enough planks.
Though the sauce not gonna fall and a treacherous lot, There's one lass among them shall ne'er be forgot, a fine noble lady so high and courtly. Come and lie, lady, lie abed, lie here with me.
Harper, either hold it up more or look down more.
I'm trying. I'm also scared because my joint isn't very good on this yarn.
It's like splicing cable together.
Kind of. A very similar feat, yeah. Damn it. It'll be fine. No, it's not. I'm gonna fuck it up.
I need the zoom. I guess I could just make the damn thing bigger again.
Yeah, I messed it up. I've gotta,
We can
gotta
see.
undo
Fuck,
these
wait, hold on.
stitches.
How'd you break it?
Gotta undo these
Why is
stitches.
this? Can I adjust this to? Let me see the properties here. Oh, it's probably because it's a feed, so I don't get a traditional, like, it's not actually a camera. What you're viewing isn't a standard camera input device, and that's probably why, like, transform and order don't work as well. Normally I get, it'll scale to the resolution, but this is technically a video feed, so I don't get that. I can just stretch the screen, fit the screen.
You could if you wanted to. I don't actually know. I'm just anxious about my joining now that everyone is watching me. Ordinarily, I don't care. But now that people are potentially watching, my brain is going, you're gonna fuck it up. And I'm just like, yeah, I sure am gonna fuck it up.
Kettle says,
Okay.
I was joking. I have to do an ASMR stream as part of a streamathon redeem my chat one, and somehow this chat turned it into a mommy ASMR. I'm pretty sure you're the one that came up with that. Could be wrong. Could have been somebody else that said it. And it's just like, I don't even know what that means. I think we were discussing, what does that even mean? And I was like, I told Vanny, I was like, that means clean your room. Brush your fucking teeth.
Felt, you stupid alpaca yarn.
I don't think you can blame my chat for that. I'm not sure.
I'm not blaming your
It wasn't
chat for
not
that,
everything
but...
about you, Harper. I was talking to you.
Oh, good. I like it not being about me. I'm the homosexual supporting cast. Yay.
There's no bounds, dude. Oh, there we go.
I just
That
do
make it
weird
so it
shit.
doesn't- That makes it scale. I figured it out. Now if I hold Alt, will it zoom? Yes. Okay, you have to have no bound
There we go.
scaling. I don't know why it was set to scale, but now I can crop in on
Okay.
more where Harper's naturally working, so I can pull like in from the sides a bit.
Why am I so bad at this? I'm the worst nullbinder in the literal world.
And also stay on top of that, but it also allows me to scale it up so you guys can see what she's doing a little better.
Do I have
No,
to hold
you
it
were
up
good where
higher?
you were.
Is that it?
I said, as I go, now we can watch where Harper, is comfortable. What, you want me to move?
Okay. So, all right.
I
The
did.
premise of null binding is basically very, very loose knots over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Kettle, your experience with mommy ASMR would be breaking down a door with a shotgun in hand or whatever the hell your mother had last night and then asking, is everything okay?
Wow.
She literally had that happen. Harper, I still didn't tell
Thanks,
you
I
about
hate it.
everybody. I think everybody else in chat heard about Discord giving me 3 days worth of DMs from a random girl in Australia from 6 years ago. When I got a new
Jesus.
account, I can actually show it to you.
For the love of fuck. I'm sure you could show it to me, but do I want to see it is the question.
That sounds like something that's
I don't
right
know.
up. That's straight off of Tumblr.
Kink shaming is my kink, so, use your
I'm
judgment
not gonna let you read it, but I mean,
of my
you have her old
judgment.
phone number. I don't know if she still uses it. I'm not calling Australia, though. Or somewhere near
I would
Australia.
hope not.
The weird thing is the country code for Australia is 04, but that's also France. But the country code for Austria is 043, and I'm like, I think I would have used completely different numbers for those two countries. People already get them confused enough as it is.
There's apparently a whole desk dedicated to I accidentally went to Austria when I meant to go to Australia at the airport, so,
Mom, ASMR mommy is actually a thing. Alex, please no. It's safe. Is it though? Or is it just going to unlock something in people that go there?
You know?
You know? If you know, you know.
I'm judging them either way. And that's all me. Okay. I need to adjust. So one of the things with null binding is adjusting the ratio on on your needle. Like any other sewing needle, you have a certain amount of working yarn and a certain amount of yarn in reserve, and you have to pretty consistently make sure that you are not going to be pulling through an amount of reserve yarn compared to your working yarn. So here we go. Oh, let me make sure.
Is there an accompanying PowerPoint presentation for this?
There's not yet.
Yet.
I can make one. Do you want me to make one?
No, but you seem like you want to, so we'll say yes.
What I really ought to do is start using the yarn that I dyed at that experiment to make a hat. Because there was someone who was camping around me who was really, really, really excited about the experiment. Like, very enthusiastic. Like, was like, let me help you get the yarn out of the pot. Let me help you rinse it out. I was like, dude, you don't have to let me. You don't have to help me. He's like, no, I want to. I'm very excited about this. I'm like, I feel like I need to make you a thing. So I'm going to have to make him a thing. And I'm figuring out if it should be a hat, if it should be some gloves, or a pair of socks. I don't know yet. Because he doesn't really have, like, young kids. So I can't just make him a pair of, like, baby boots like I'm doing here. And, which are comparatively quick. And be like, ta-da, here are your baby booties. Have fun being a parent. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll
Make
be
one
fine.
of these sack hats, which is what I'm going to start calling them.
I could.
Apparently there's, Harper will be happy to know this because she's concentrating, so I have to read chat to her. There is ASMR Mommy Girlfriend is the other version, and it is not safe. Yeah, no
Thanks,
problem.
I hate it. Yeah.
We'll have to tune into one or the other. Or both.
I'm so glad that I'm concentrating on this.
How are we making money?
Okay. If I can get through this one more time, and then I'll do the other one more time, and then I will start actually going ahead and adding increases. So, by and large, when it comes to like baby socks or baby boots, you want them honestly bigger than you would expect, because what happens is when they expand, they end up taking up more room than you would expect. And baby feet are bigger than you would imagine. As awful as that sounds.
Especially to Harper.
I know. Okay, so I hate feet.
She doesn't even like her own feet.
I despise my own feet.
I thought you
but like I can stomach this.
That's why her
Anyway.
feet are tucked so far under that chair. She's actually got the soles of her feet up against like the center piston.
Shut up.
They're behind the piston now.
Shut up. Anyway, so anyway, baby feet are big is the moral of the story. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
So is that machine safe? You said it wouldn't tear. How much does that stuff shrink or stretch?
Ooh, good question. So when it comes to alpaca, usually when you're trying to felt something, you can expect at least a 25% shrinkage.
Oh.
Because this is a fiber that has not been what we call processed for superwash. Superwash is a process that basically makes wool not felt anymore.
And then we have the superwash.
Well,
that's $5
and that's
extra.
literally
It's
kind of
still
the
touchless,
no, that is the premise, is superwash. So usually you get a superwash merino wool. Merino is a very popular fiber. It's got a very small, fine, and dense fiber build. Merino is
like
the breed of sheep.
The quarterback. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't know he named it for sheep.
Well, yeah, he owes his name to sheep. So there.
Today you learned a bunch of shit, probably. And
today you learned way too much.
You probably
things.
didn't want to. And now all that room in your brain is not available for more useful information.
So what I'm working with right now is actually an alpaca yarn, and it has not been treated. So if I were to throw this in the washer and dryer right now on like normal settings, it would probably shrink to at the very least a quarter of its size, if not even half of its size. People like to kind of joke about the degree to which wool will shrink, but no, it's actually quite real. The other thing is that if the parents so choose, they can actually felt this. So the primary difference between a knit garment and a felted garment is, after I finish this stitch, you see all of these lovely individual stitches that I'm trying to hold up to the camera, and it's a little too high, so I'm going to hold it down. I don't know if this is actually going to work.
Real-time feed, but I didn't have time to set it up.
It's okay. So all of these lovely individual stitches that you see here, right? The chevrons, yes. In a felted garment, there are no individual stitches. It's basically all just a single fabric. And it's so all of this lovely stretch that you see that I'm doing here is not a possibility anymore because all of these different fibers have literally bound themselves together in the felting process. And that's part of the reason why if you get a yarn that is felted, it's no longer useful. If you get a garment that is felted, it is kind of regarded as useless. There's a lot of consternation in the knitting community about felting. I personally don't mind it because I kind of want the garments that, well, especially in a period sense, you kind of want your socks and mittens and hats to end up felted because that means they're going to be more durable. They're going to be like an actual singular fabric as opposed to something that might unravel or be different. But with felting, you actually have that guarantee that it's more like a fabric than an intricate piece. And the intricacy is very important. Don't get me wrong. I love a good knitted piece. One of my very best friends knitted a shawl for my wedding that I will forever cherish and make sure nothing ever happens to it, right? But at the same time, making sure that things get felted when they're intended to will make them last a lot longer. So it ultimately depends on the application is my point, which is my very long-winded thread talk on this matter. I'm so sorry for hijacking your stream, Fox.
Sure. Anytime that put a $1 in the sorry jar, or it used to be $1, now it's probably like $5 thanks to inflation. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, anytime that she's talking about stuff, and as long as everybody's okay with this, because I'm basically playing the game in the background while showing this, because it is, period. What did you say? Period appropriate.
So this is actually an art that goes back to about the time that people figured out, hey, I have a stick, I have some string, what can I do with it?
Let me reset this transform. Let's edit.
All right, and I'm going to adjust my string again. Yeah. I am by far the worst null binder ever in existence, by the way. So, do not use me as an authority, please. There we go. No, it's really interesting. Aside from a few particular examples, the vast majority of null-bound objects that we have are either socks or mittens. And those are particularly hardware items. Anyone who has knitted a sock or a mitten before will probably tell you that, the durability on those items is very distinct. You have to kind of plan ahead. Most socks are made out of a superwash yarn because that means they will keep what we call their stitch definition, which is all these chevrons will not disappear as the product wears on. And it will also maintain its stretchiness throughout its lifetime, which for some people is really important. But in period, it was more important that it be waterproof and it be durable, and that any holes be easily patched without needing immediate attention, which was a huge part of why socks in particular are very common nail-bound objects found in period and in the actual archaeological artifacts. So, oop, almost missed that. That would have been unfortunate.
Anti-crochet? Why is it anti-crochet?
I mean, in a sense, it's anti-crochet. If you pull on the working yarn of crochet, it'll unravel. As opposed to, so if in crochet this is your working yarn, if you were to pull on this, it would start unraveling. In null binding, what happens when I pull on this is it actually gets tighter. So null binding is basically a series of very, very loose knots that end up kind of tied together.
That's the ripstop part.
Which, yes. And the trade-off is that, yes, it takes a lot more time to make a finished product, but it's a lot more durable. If it ends up tearing somewhere, it's not immediately going to all start unraveling. You actually have a little bit of time before someone can repair it and make it whole again.
And you do that by sort of binding the wire, like you were saying earlier?
You can. You can try to rebind it. You can basically put a piece of fabric and patch it in. There are a lot of different options. Most purists say that you have to, read null bind it basically, but I am not a purist. I say whatever works, just fix your damn garment,
Fix your shit.
Fix your shit. You gotta fix your shit.
I just realized that this granary is right where the church was probably going to be. I guess it still can, maybe. Wouldn't want to piss off people. They seem pretty keen on where their churches are.
People typically did care a lot. They were kind of the
Yeah, I
community
was trying to put it right in
center.
the center, right in the top of the hill. The granary, I think, went over there. I guess granaries are important too. I suspect that granary will probably wind up moving in the end.
Probably.
I'm trying to figure out why I can't actively crop the camera over there, because we haven't done this in real time, because nobody else has ever worn the helmet cam except me. So I should actually probably put that for anybody coming in. It's expecting Manor Lords with the new patch, and it's like, what the fuck is going on in the corner over here? I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should add that to the screen description.
Hashtag null binding.
Because they probably are like, oh, what is he streaming somebody else's stream while he's streaming? Streamception? What the fuck?
No, it's just nerdy shit. It's just pure nerdy shit. If you want me to stop, I will.
I know.
I mean, I'll take the head cam off. I will not stop null binding.
I know.
Because I gotta get these done soon, actually, because the person that they're intended for is turning 1 soon.
Oh, now I can crop again. What the fuck?
Okay, 2 more, and then I reach that stitch marker, and I'm probably gonna switch to the other one.
Also, lets me see, what it looks like, because most of the time I'm the one wearing it, but I'm generally doing something, so I'm not paying attention to the stream itself.
To be fair, I'm not as active as you are, so it's not quite as motion sicknessy as how I've seen it before.
Alex says, in Banished, I placed a church near the village I was building. That winter, the church, and only the church, was destroyed by a hurricane. I guess the god wasn't happy about the placement. Flip. No.
That's fair.
No, not there. We're not doing that.
Fuck you. No.
Also, where were you hurricanes are kind of specific to certain regions, so it's like,
I was about to say hurricanes are very Gulf in
by
in the
definition.
States.
Checking something on my phone real quick here before we go back to speeding up things.
How dare you?
In the game.
How dare. How very dare.
'Cause now we will need somebody to take people off the saw pit. Because now we do actually need people in the church. And once we get people in the church, which will take, the church does take a fair bit of time. Or maybe the first one doesn't. I know the manor takes a while to build. I'm pretty sure the church takes a while to build as well.
I would expect so.
Let's come down here. They're going to have to flatten this out. We'll get a market stalls here pretty soon. It was hard to figure out what actually changed between the last two patches because since they moved it from the experimental branch over to the main branch, it was kind of an overview of everything. And I'm like, okay, but if I wanted to say... No, literally, what was the change log? Give me a change log. I only want...
Give me ticket
TLDR.
numbers. Yeah.
And they were like, well, it's over the main branch, so everything changed. I'm like,
How dare. Yeah. That's not how you run software. I mean, you can,
you
but...
should run software. I'll be right back. Too much Cold War. Enjoy the null binding as my wires get caught in my gambison. In my gambison.
Not the Gambison.
The shield.
I know, people love seeing shields on stream, people love seeing crafts and art and things. Oh, alright, almost got caught on the toe. Alright, chat, how has your weekend been so far? I know for the vast majority of the world, we're looking at either Saturday or Sunday. So, how has everything been? I'm very curious to hear. I do have chat open, I'm just not good at looking at it. So, I know that for me, I got to visit a fair that I used to work at a very long time ago. For those of you who don't know, my name is Harper, Harper on Ku, which means Harper the Hound. I do actually play the harp. And a long time ago, I used to be a resident harp player for a local fair. But life got in the way of continuing to work there. So I do occasionally visit them. Today was one of the visitation days, as it were. And it was a very pleasant day. It was hot, though. I definitely had a moment where I realized that I was wearing too much garb, too much clothing, and had to go ahead and remove a whole bunch of it so that I did not overheat and get dehydrated. But otherwise, it was a good day. So yeah, I'm curious to hear how everyone's weekend has gone so far as I try to get through my yarn predicament here that I've created for myself. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Oh no, what have I done? There we go. There we go. Everything's okay now. And that is just a little bit of felted piece that we're going to rip off. These things happen. These things happen, especially with an untreated yarn. Boop. There we go. There we go. Going good here. Relaxing and enjoying 2 days off of work. That's good. I'm sorry, Robin, that it's not going well. I know that screaming into the void is necessary sometimes, so hopefully that will help. But there are certain distractions that we can afford ourselves, and sometimes it's really all we've got. So I'm glad to hear that things are better now, but I'm sorry to hear that they started bad. Fingers crossed they only go up from here. My goal is to get this and a little hat done in the next week or so that my in-law's baby will have something to put on her head and feet for her very first birthday. That's my goal. That's my goal. I don't know if I'll reach it, but That's my goal.
And I brought down a turkey leg because I thought, oh, just biting into a turkey leg would be a good prop for stream like that.
That is quite a good prop. Don't get it on my goddamn yarn.
Why? That's the very first thing. I guess you all know. You bring down a turkey leg anywhere, the first thing you're going to try to do is take every opportunity that is, at your disposal to try to smear it all over yarn. That's exactly what you're going for there.
I'm very particular about food particles on my fiber projects.
I think most people would be. I think most people would be even more particular about having fiber projects on their fucking food.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat this on stream. I was just like, I'll take like one bite as a prop. And I was like, I don't think.
Take a screenshot and just
Most
post
people
that
aren't
somewhere.
aren't gonna want to watch somebody eat on stream, I would imagine.
It depends. No.
Also, it would be hard to then use the computer afterwards. But
Yeah, that's gross. Congrats. Proud of you.
so of course, the one part I bite into is that little bit that comes apart.
It's like a tendon.
I did want a little bit of a snack.
Humans, they're snackish.
On the plus side, you don't have to floss it. I suspect I still will.
Okay. I think another 10 stitches and then I'll be partially done with this one. And then I'll switch to the other one. Which unfortunately is not as interesting because the yarn is all the same color. Why did I do this one first? That was really dumb of me.
Oh, good to hear that a couple of people in chat actually had a better day of things.
Oh, good.
We all know what that means, don't
I guess I'm doing pretty good as a proper lord here, just sitting here like munching on meat, something that's a bit of a luxury in the village while I sit here and supervise.
I was about to say meat was absolutely a luxury in period. The vast majority of things that were eaten were vegetables. I have a very interesting recipe for a spinach tart, but if you look at the recipe books in period, the vast majority of dishes were from vegetative matter.
Matter. M-A-D-D-E-R.
No, M-A-T-T-E-R.
Oh, yes. The
Vegetation. Spinach and turnips and such, because potatoes were not... potatoes are a New World vegetable. So are tomatoes. They were not part of the medieval diet. Which is really a shame. I feel like they would have really liked them.
Apparently they did. You see what happened in Ireland. Up
It's
until
true.
it didn't.
Aww. Aww. Rude.
Too soon.
Up for a debate. Okay, that's going to be another 3 stitches.
No, Shadow.
And-
Thanks for hanging out. Hope the rest of your... So you have 2 days off of work that you're relaxing. You didn't say how... If this is the last day. But, yeah, I hope it's enjoyable regardless.
Oh, this is heavier than it looks.
Alex comes back to the mention of Ireland in too soon.
I agree.
I just said they liked potatoes.
That isn't even the half of it, and you know it.
Don't read it in my comments.
Uh-huh. Okay, and I have reached my stitch counter, so I'm going to switch to the other one. I think I need to do another 2? I think? I don't know, I'm bad at math. Why did I do this? I'm really bad at math. Ah, Fox, why did I do it this way?
Yes, you very clearly should have used the The Bartholomew method of nail binding. I don't know why you're using whatever the hell that is, you peasant.
Why did I do it this way? I've made a big mistake. I've made a terrible mistake.
Let's straighten this up.
But the nice thing about socks is that when you're done with your working yarn, you can kind of wrap it around your needle and just tuck the whole thing into the sock, which is very satisfying.
You have a little stocking.
It is a little stocking. Ah.
Yeah. Kettle, it's period appropriate. Just like the nail binding. The nail binding is period appropriate. The turkey leg is period appropriate. Or very period appropriate. Cheers.
You'll need to lift this beam to the roof.
And then also put $1 into the swear or the sorry jar. Are you supposed to eat the skin of a turkey leg?
You can.
What I asked.
No one's stopping you.
Nobody's stopping me from eating rocks either.
I mean, I do, but I'm a heathen, so take that with like a billion grains of
What did you
salt.
just say?
I'm a
No.
heathen.
You do what?
I eat the
I thought you meant
skin.
you ate rocks. I was like, what rocks are you eating?
Salt.
Kettle. We had 2. Now we only have 1. Everything is edible. Some things are only edible once.
Once, yeah. Ugh, I need to get through this yarn faster. Way faster. I wish I were fast at nail binding, and I could get things done really quickly and not even think about it.
Snack.
Bye. Alright, Fox is gone. We get to party now, right?
I'm right over here.
No, you're not right over there. You're gone. It's my party now. And I'll cry if I want to. I won't actually cry, chat.
Practice your good boys and good girls.
No, absolutely not. What is everybody looking forward to? What is everybody looking forward to this week? What are good things that people are happy to...
Be wholesome.
Fox, don't decry me for trying to be wholesome. What is everyone looking forward to? I'm genuinely curious to find out.
After 10 PM, we're
I-
in After dark mode.
I am looking forward to the concept of my roof finally being repaired after about literally a month of rain. Where for those of you who are not familiar with construction, it's really difficult to repair a roof when it's raining, because that will get the inside of the house wet. So I'm very much looking forward to my roof being repaired now that it is not wet outside anymore. I'm seeing the comforting embrace of the grave. You know, I'm very death positive, to be honest. As long as you are prepared for it, I don't necessarily object. I don't encourage bringing it upon yourself, but, you know, preparation is key in everything, you know. So... Alright. Another round and a half of this, and I should be okay.
Look at that. Eat a turkey leg. Church is almost done.
Wow, it's like Catholic Mass all over again.
I didn't get any turkey legs.
Well, no, not the turkey leg, but Mass being almost done. It felt like forever. Okay.
Ah. Took me a second there. I was like, the fuck is prehistoric monster syndrome? Oh. What are we waiting on here? A new message. There's always like one rock or something that we're waiting on. There's some guy that's lost. Harper's out of frame.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to readjust a little bit.
You're adjusting the wrong way.
Am
Look at
I?
the stream.
I'm really bad at this, man.
I mean, I did make the window pretty narrow. You were good up until you
This
started
is-
moving.
This is why I can't stream.
No,
by the
I don't
way.
know of anybody else that has this sort of stuff. Look up more. There you go. It's not much.
Okay. Okay. This is like when I was trying in high school to make a how-to origami video for a class assignment, and I was like, "Oh, this actually sucks." I need to like simultaneously like look at my work, but at the most awkward angle. This actually is horrible. Yeah. That is how demos go.
Like I was trying to adjust it up more, but it might also be that the camera is. The tape
It
on
doesn't
the
actually
camera
fit my
is
head.
actually let go so much that it's just pointed straight down, and that's the problem. It's not where Harper's looking. Hold on, Harper.
Okay. I'm holding on.
Can you see this thing right here in your face?
No.
The cable is literally touching the bridge of your nose. That's not supposed to. How much vodka have you had?
Not enough.
Maybe too much.
No,
Okay.
I really like
This cable here
it's too sweet.
is supposed to. Why are you wearing it cockeyed?
I don't know. I adjust to my environment. Don't judge me. It's easier if it actually goes downward because then it actually sees what I'm doing.
You know,
I don't know.
So just we'll tilt it down.
Oh, good.
There you go.
Good. Now
I
I
think that's about lined up.
now the only thing I can see is my actual work. That works. Thanks.
That's a good.
Fuck off.
It is experimental. For those of you who are new and wondering what the fuck is going on, it's a prototype helmet camera that I put together. I have to make another one. And
This is tickling my nose.
in situations like this, it would actually work better if we were working to the side of my I had like a camera. I guess I still do. I have a camera set up over there, and it has like an area that is taped off. But for what Harper is doing, she's working in her lap, and it wouldn't work, I suspect, as easily working on a desk, where as long as you're within, we tape off the grid area.
Like I could try
as
it, but it would not be as comfortable.
So the helmet
Yeah.
cam was where I realized if we just do this,
Soon may the helmet cam come to look at my lap doing.
you should really come up with the rhyme first.
String. Yeah, I know I should, but I'm off the clock.
Hey ho, the helmet can come to watch us drink our vodka and rum. Then we're gonna be really dumb, and everybody's gonna watch the stream.
No.
I don't know why people are watching the stream right now. They're tuning in for Man or Lord.
Obviously
They're-
because of my impeccable knob binding.
And one morning, woken up by. Wait, what did I miss in chat?
I asked people how their weekend was going, what they're
Yeah, I
looking
saw
forward
it.
to.
It was very wholesome. While I was yelling something at you.
Yeah, you were shouting things and I was
I don't know how
ignoring
much of
you.
them how much of that they could actually hear. The helmet cam probably picks up. That's a lapel mic, just sort of clipped to the top of that. It might have picked me up,
It
but
might
it
have.
really is only supposed to design to pick up. It's like omnidirectional, but it is pretty much close up stuff, which makes it work fantastic. It's like probably picking me up a lot right now.
All right. I do probably need to go to bed in the next 20 minutes.
Okay.
To be responsible.
So you're gonna do like Kittle did last night, and
Hey, meh, 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 meh.
20 minutes. So an hour into 20 minutes.
I tossed and turned until about 12:30 last night, so I don't want to hear it.
I don't see how that's my fault. I think I know where you're going with that.
It's not your fault. It's my fault.
Bob gets this.
My brain's fault.
A few years back, the room next to mine had a lovely waterfall in the middle of it. Then one morning I get woken up by them tearing the roof off. The whole roof was basically mud, splinters, and squirrel carcasses.
Oh, good.
New roof, much nicer.
Summer's coming soon, and soon the beating sun.
They're being forced to put money into property. What a concept.
These things happen. These things happen. All right, stretch
Rangers
marker
near, prepare
comes
for attack.
out.
Do we have... Oh, right, yeah. I guess I should get population. I may have borked this one, or will I saved in the beginning? Because, again, been a while. Need to get this church up sooner. In all previous playthroughs, I had the saw pit down, like, immediately. And I completely forgot that I needed it for the church. Because if you get the church up first, then the homelessness doesn't matter. But otherwise, they just remember. Again, it's been like a full year. At least 6 months. And they've had houses. They should just immediately be happy that they have friggin' houses. But they're not. Also, it's March, so coming back. It means I need people over here.
I would also be happy if I just had a house that I didn't need to fix. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty great.
Dream of everybody
TBH.
born past 1980.
Ugh.
Somebody supposed to be... Who is hauling the last two things over here? It won't let me... I don't think there's anything else that needs to be built. Can somebody please bring whatever is necessary to this location? I know you guys won't let me even put the foundation down until we have absolutely everything. So somebody is supposed to be doing this. Neither of those things require